Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders for preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. In the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. In the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. I say shalom to you Akim out there. And this is a sit-down lesson of this recent news article from RT.com as of January 16, 2023. This is from the category of the business news, and it reads, Economists signals rising risk of U.S. recession. The probability of economic downturn in 2023 is very high, despite the signs of easing inflation, experts warn. It says a high interest rate will push the U.S. economy into a recession in the coming year, the Wall Street Journal reports on Sunday, citing its latest quarterly survey of economics. According to the report, businesses and academic economists on the verge to put the probability of a recession in the next 12 months at 61%. The forecast is slightly changed from 63% in October survey. The Wall Street Journal reported the Federal Reserve has initially hoped it could bring down inflation with only a slowing in economic growth rather than outright contraction, an outcome dubbed a soft landing. However, three-quarters of respondents polled by the journal said the Fed wouldn't achieve a soft landing this year. The warnings comes despite a slightly more optimistic outlook on inflation. The report says that as measured by the year-over-year change in the consumer price index, inflation has eased from 9.1% last June to 6.5% in December. That was of last year. As we already in the new year, it says economists expect it to fall 3.1% by the end of this year and seen ending 2024 at 2.4%. And it says while recent inflation prints have shown some progress, a few persistent categories like core service are associated with the historical tight labor market suggest that there is still a long way to go for the Fed. The Deutsche Bank economists told the Wall Street Journal in the survey the Fed will stay on its tightened trajectory to restore the rebalance of labor market and price stability, which in our view will engineer a sharp rise in unemployment and recession, they explain. Meanwhile, the chief economist at EY partnering Greg Dyko, if I pronounce his last name right, said that while services actively remain robust, the housing sector is tumbling under the weight of elevated mortgage. I remember I did a lesson on that a couple months back. The rates and manufacturing activities is stalling, but signal a broader economic downturn is likely coming. The expert expect the combination of persistent inflation, tighter financial conditions, and weaker global growth will push the U.S. economy into a mild recession in the first half of 2023. It says overall, economists says that a recession can't be avoided, but that they expect it to be relatively shallow and a short-lived. On average, that it expected gross domestic produce to expand at 0.1% annual rate in the first quarter of this year and to contract at 0.4% in the second. That they see no growth for the third quarter at a 0.6 growth rate for the fourth quarter, according to the report. So, as the economists in the business news matter reporting said, there's still going to be a potential of a push and a risk of a 2023 recession. And a right, despite the signs of easing inflation, right? Because I covered stories of doing this about what the markets and stuff been going up and down through during the year of 2022, and now we're entering 2023. I believe I did a video at I would say in the middle of December or end of December, how they was continuing raising the interest rate with the Wall Street, because the Wall Street had positive gain, then they had times where they had negative gain as well too. And then you had from experts believing entering 2023, you're still going to see a mild recession. They've been saying that since the month of November and December. I've been covering this story of a potential of entering a recession. Even though they have a lower employment rate, they have a good solid jobs report. They're easing with the inflations, but you still look at, even though they showing signs of the inflation is going down, it's easing a little bit, but in the consumer spending, it had increased and went down a little bit as well too. But you're still going to see that potential the recession. You're going to see the recession that will affect the economy. You're still going to have oil prices and gas prices going up. You're still going to have the house mortgages going up. Other people that's currently owning a house, or people potentially in the process of trying to own a house, but you still have these mortgage rates and these interest rates going up, along with the consumer spending going up of gas prices, oil prices. Those gonna even though it's down right now, but it's gonna go right back up. So that's why the economists said it's still signaling a risk of a mild recession. You know, as these interest rates, because the markets, they've been having a good solid gain so far in this year. It's kind of like an up and down thing, just like it did in 2022. And we're going to expect to see that in 2023 as well, too. But expected to see, the continuing of interest rates in the Wall Streets, because the stocks and markets react to what's going on globally and financially. Data statistics of what the Federal Reserve of the Wall Street Stock Exchange, of what their decision is going to be made, if it's going to be effect on a positive side or a negative side. So now you got the economists believing there's there's a likelihood chance of a potential mild recession, because that's going to affect the economy. Even though you have a good solid jobs report, a tight job labor, a tight housing market, and many other categories as well too. So as we see, so the economists, they are right. We're still going to see that mild, we're still going to see that mild increase, because it's going to be rising increases of a potential recession is coming. And then the stocks and markets are going to be back in the black market as well too, like it did in I believe in October and November, you know, in December, and entering this year. Even though the markets had a good solid 2 day gain, but you expect to see the market's going to still tumble a little bit. as you still gonna have interest rate increasing, the cost of living increases, the prices of goods increasing, gas prices gonna increase, and expected to see the inflation that's gonna increase, even though we're seeing increasing signs for the past 2 months, entering from December all the way until January of 2023. As of right now, we're seeing a signs of the decreasing of the inflation, and then the paper dollar is still, the U.S. dollar is still valued, you know. So we're gonna see a sign of the paper dollar is gonna be no more value very soon, because that digital currency is coming very soon, you know. So yeah, we is gonna see a potential increase of a mild recession. It ain't like it's going away, but we're, as the economist just said it, it said the economist signaling a rising risk of the U.S. recession. And it says the probability of the economic downturn in 2023 is very high, despite the signs of easing inflation. Right, because you got many different things and categories that can affect the economy, with the housing market, the price of the cost of living, people rent goes up every year or two, you know, the housing market, mortgage going up due to the high interest rates in the mortgages, the price of food, price of goods, gas prices, even though it had went down a little bit, because I know here in Illinois it used to be like four something dollars. Then it went from $3.98 to $3.44. So you're gonna see a rise, increase of that as well too. The gas prices, the oil productions, you know. So the inflation is gonna increase more and more and more, because you're still looking at the things are high, Yeah, my mom was telling me, I was speaking to her about an hour ago. She's saying like a dozen of eggs. Sure, it's about like $5. And I say so much so for easing inflation, huh? No, we still gonna see that increasing of a mild recession, because as I've mentioned in those many categories, you look at the housing market, because the housing market been up and down. Their house mortgages is going to increase. The interest rates of that's going to increase. The taxes of the prices of the items and foods in these stores, that's going to consistently goes up. Even though consumer spending been down a little bit, the consumer spending, that's going to increase right back up as well too. So the inflation is going to increase, even though it's lowering, the inflation lowering along with the gas prices, and then with the house mortgages and the inflation that's going to increase. All those three categories that I just named, all those is going to increase sometime in this year, but we don't know when. But when data statistic comes out, for the first quarter or second quarter or the third quarter or the fourth quarter of this year, in the new year 2023, we're gonna see the inflation gonna increase, the cost of living is gonna increase, the taxes and increase of foods and products in these stores, that's gonna increase. Even though we've been seeing somewhat slow pace of that decreasing, but we're gonna see that increase. And the cost of living, that's going to increase. Everything is going to consistently goes up, So yeah, the economists, they are right. It's signaling a risk of a U.S. recession. While the inflation is easing, but the inflation is going to increase. The consumer spending going to increase, and the house market is going to increase as well too. And all those categories is going to increase as well too. And so with that, I hope this lesson was edifying of this news article that I brought out about a potential economists signaling a rising risk of a U.S. recession, right? Because we're going to enter a mild recession. The inflation is going to increase, even though it's decreasing right now, and the consumer spending that's going to increase, and the cost of living and taxes. The interest rates are going to increase as the Federal Reserve of Wall Street try to continues to ease the inflation, but it's gonna continually gonna increase. And so with that, once again, hopefully this lesson was edifying of this news article I brought out as of January 16, 2023, of a potential risk of a recession, even if it is easing inflation. But we're still going to see that increase of a recession, of a mild recession. And so with that, I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Karkadash. Double honors to the elders for preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. In the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Karkadash. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. In the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Karkadash. And until next time, I will say shalom.